Betty.
And it's Emily.
So it's almost Mid-Autumn's festival, and as an Asian family, usually you gather together, have your meals, and then at the end of it, you have a dessert, which is called a mooncake. And Emily and I were courageous enough in thinking we would attempt it today from scratch.
Yeah, so the recipe we found online is for the 5 nuts mooncake, and the link we'll put below so you can check it out yourself. Most of the things you can find from your local Asian market, and we went to TNT for most of our things. We did modify the recipe a little bit so it's actually vegetarian friendly. And plan ahead because you do need to let the mooncake itself sit for about 2 to 3 days before consuming.
Okay, let's get started.
So the first step we're going to do is we're going to put the glutinous rice flour into our pan, and we're going to cook it until we let the steam out, which is kind of most of the water that's in the rice flour.
So the next thing we're going to do is the golden syrup.
So in a pot, you're going to put 1 cup of sugar, ½ cup of water, and an extra 2 tablespoons of water with 2 slices of lemon. So once you have all your ingredients in your pot, what you're going to do is you're going to stir the ingredients until the sugar has melted. And once the sugar has melted, you just kind of let it sit on low heat for about 15 minutes. The consistency should be kind of like runny honey. And in the end, you should get a product like this.
So the next step is you roast all of the nut and seeds. Usually we're looking for a golden color, or if you hear some popping sounds in the oven. Then you chop up all of the ingredients except for the sesame seeds, and then you incorporate all of the ingredients together. And then you'll get
So now we're going to make the mooncake skin dough, and what you're going to need is flour. We have our golden syrup, which we already made, and the lard that we're actually substituting with this coconut or cacao oil, and I just got it from Walmart. And the lime water, which is a potassium carbonate solution that you buy from your local Asian market.
So after you knead all of the ingredients together and let it sit for ½ an hour, you should get an end product like this.
The next thing we're going to have to make is the mooncake filling dough. Now for the filling dough, we have the glutinous rice flour, which we cooked, the castor sugar, which is also known as the powdered sugar, which I have in a container here, and the, can never say this, cacao oil, which we're substituting instead of the lard. And the other oil you're going to need is the grapeseed oil, which you can also use peanut oil or canola oil, any kind of the non-fragrant oils that you have. And finally, the rose liqueur, which is from TNT, and you're also going to need some salt and water as well.
Boom! And that's our finished product, and so we're going to be mixing it with the nuts. It's always fun to be able to use your hands when you're making things, right, Emily?
Getting down and dirty.
Preheating the oven to 375. So we're taking a piece of the outer dough and rolling it out into small balls. And then we're gonna lightly flour your surface that you're using. We're just doing it over a silicone mat just to keep things neat and tidy, so it's not sticky and won't stick to our dough.
And once you kind of have it in this little circular shape, we're gonna roll it out. And importantly, you're gonna have to dust it with generous amount of flour so it doesn't stick. And then usually, I was taught to flour your rolling pin as well. But yeah, so we're just rolling it out to the shape of your filling and the shape of your mold. Ours is a bit smaller, it's about this size, and so our filling is kind of approximately that size as well, so we'll just roll out the dough so it wraps around the whole thing. Yeah, and the point of doing that is so it'll fill all the corners so you get all the nice edges and the patterns of your mold. That looks good. Now traditionally, I know when you buy the mooncakes, the skin is quite thin, so that's what we're trying to achieve as well. Mm-hmm. How's that look, Emily? Looks pretty good. Okay, should we try wrapping it now? Yes. So the skin itself doesn't have to be any shape or form in particular, as long as you roll it out quite nice and thin and even throughout. And we're gonna take our dough filling, and all you're gonna do is wrap it around the filling like so.
You don't have to worry too much about the patches from the dough itself, because when you're rolling it into your hand, the warmth from your hands is kind of mending the areas together and holding everything together.
Just like how you mend a broken heart. And once you have all kind of the cracks and whatnot smoothed out like so, you're just gonna roll it around just to make sure everything's nice and even.
And that's our oven preheated.
Nice.
And you want to form it into the kind of square shape of the mooncake mold so that it's easier to fit.
So we're gonna have to kind of try to fit this into our mold. You might need to do a little bit of pushing and tugging, but that's okay. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a press, and you might get some excess skin. And all you're gonna do is just kind of remove it like that, or you can use any tools you want. I'm just using my hands. And then you're gonna give it a nice firm press, just so you get the nice edges of the pattern. Clean up the edges a bit more. I'm just gonna inject it. And you should get something like that.
So stand on the side of the oven when you're opening it. When it's at the right temperature, we're popping it in for 10 minutes on bake. And then we pull it back out to add an egg wash, and then another 10 minutes until the finished product.
10 minutes is up. Wow.
It's already slightly golden.
And they smell so good.
I understand why people sometimes are like, we wish there was a smell-o-vision.
So we have our egg wash, which essentially is just the egg yolk that we separated. We're just gonna dab, dab, dab. To get your egg wash on, we're gonna pop it back in the oven. And she's going to bake for another 10 minutes.
Remember to set your timer. So this is our second batch. Because our mold was a bit smaller than the regular size, we opted to decrease the second timer to 8 minutes after the egg wash. And this is how it turned out. That 4 is not a good number. Just saying. It is an Asian tradition.
And we're finally done making our mooncake, and this is the final product. What do you think, Betty?
I think it looks pretty good for our first time.
I think so too. So we're gonna do a little taste test.
This is my favorite time after the cooking.
Cheers. What it looks like. It's not focusing. Can you do that vlogger thing?
Wait, I'm popping it in my mouth.
Oh, there we go. This is what it looks like.
And while Emily was doing that, it's really good. It has like a nutty flavor with like the mix of the seeds, which is really good. And yeah, I'm impressed.
The outer shell is a little bit crunchier than what you normally buy from stores, but I kind of like it.
I think,
yeah, a nice texture.
Yeah, I think after it sits for the 2-3 days that it's recommended, it will soften up a bit and kind of attract more of the moisture. And the inside would kind of marinate as the recipe says and have a bit more flavor to it.
Very good.
Success! Hope you guys enjoyed that episode of us trying out making mooncakes on our own. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what you want us to do next with our food and nutrition adventures.
If you want to impress your family and friends, we definitely recommend trying to make this yourselves. It was our first time making it, and honestly wasn't too bad.
I think your friends and family will be impressed with the results. If you want more details of the recipe and the tweaks and changes that we did, head over to our blog to see the details. And our socials are always linked below, so make sure to follow the fam.
And we'll
Be back next time.